There comes a time when the aging lines become visible. The high level of intolerance to practically everything and the fear of financial stagnation takes over. For many women, this midlife crisis can be worrisome, but are there tips to help navigate and survive this period in a woman's life? The searchlight beams on the 40-plus woman. I am Siju Alabi. Welcome to the show. As a life coach to women, Mrs. Busola Jegede mentors and guides them to discover their life purpose as well as walking in it. Help me welcome Mrs. Busola Jegede, a seasoned life coach. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Alabi, for having me.
Midlife crisis, like I introduced, it's for many researchers, they say that it's described as a transition period, in an average adult's life, be it a woman or a man. I don't know, definitely probably affects women, more. Maybe you'll be able to tell us that. However, how accurate is this narrative, and is there a particular age bracket that it affects?
Midlife for women is just same as for men, but because of our gender and certain gender peculiarities, women tend to have certain experiences. But what I would like to just first of all say is that there are a lot of peculiar midlife issues that are not really crises.
Aha.
Because crisis connotes intense difficulty, danger in transition, but there are certain things that do happen at midlife that are not necessarily crises.
For example?
So for example, when a woman gets to a particular age, she's likely to experience menopause and empty net syndrome. Children leave the home because they are moving on in life. There can be instances of a job loss, maybe because you get to retirement age, and if you've been in a career, you have to leave that job, and that puts you in a different space from what you've been used to all your life. And there can also be matters of weight gain, hair loss,
bereavement,
divorce. Yes, divorce may happen. So many marital issues. So many things happen at about that time that women just come to, they just find themselves in that space. But when we're now talking about the ones that become a crisis, we're now talking about those that may affect them emotionally. And typically, a lot of women go into depression because of these emotional changes. Now, midlife crisis is different from depression. You can find out a woman is feeling sad because she's alone. She's used to having so many people around her, and now things are different, and so she's in a mood. But for depression, it lasts for a longer time. But if it's just a crisis of the empty net syndrome, it can come in, it may lift for a few days. You also find out that some women begin to have certain impulsive actions. They begin to buy on impulse. And if, for instance, you've had to pay school fees for some time, and all of a sudden you don't need to pay school fees again because the children are grown. So you find out some women tend to, especially in this environment, they begin to invest more in Ashoebi. They are going out for more weddings because that's the only outlook they have. Oh, this one's daughter is getting married, we all go there. Next month is this one, this is the uniform. So you find out that at that age, a lot of things begin to happen. And depression may also be a factor to consider in some women. But when we are prepared for this period, when we get to midlife, it doesn't have to be a crisis.
I did ask, is there an age bracket?
35, from about 35, women tend to experience certain changes in their body. They become premenopausal, premenopausal, the onset of menopause. And with that, menopause brings its own peculiar challenges, irritability, hot flashes. You may just sit down and it's as if somebody is pointing. Some women have told me it's like somebody is pointing a dryer on their forehead. You know, and there's nobody point. And then all sorts of things. The nails.
Everybody will be saying, I'm cold, though.
You will be
and
feeling,
you will be feeling hot.
So you find out typically ways to manage it. You see a lot of women carrying hand fans. Because, you know, you don't want to start sweating. Maybe you're in a meeting. You're just sweating. And
the sweat can be profuse.
Yes, it can be profuse. So you find out that sometimes we may feel bored because of all this, you know, you are just bored. You don't find anything interesting at that time. There is a sense of unfulfillment that also comes. And especially where it is now peculiar to women is because when they get to that stage in life, maybe 45, 50, that's why a lot of women look forward to their 50th birthday. They just want to throw a party and just feel loved and be the center of attention. Because many women tend to have spent their lives on their family. So women get to a point where you've poured out yourself. Some might have given up their career for their family, maybe taking on a lesser thing, or giving up their dreams for their family, or some may be crisscrossing nations following their husband's career. So your husband gets transferred to a place, you pack up everything you're doing, take the children with you, because women tend to have the responsibility for the children. A man can go and chase dreams except where there is understanding in the home. So when a lot of women get to this age, some have a deep sense of, oh my God, what happened to me? I wanted to be this, I wanted to be that, but I gave it up. And that's where women become clingy to their children. I spent my life on you people. I gave up my dreams on you. I sold my wrapper for you. I sold my land to take care of you. I know what I would have become.
But those stories are true, though. For many, those stories are actually true.
They are true. They are true. So that's where information and knowledge, and that's part of what I've been doing to educate people, that you don't want to get to that point and begin to lord yourself over people, because they will resent you. Mom, you took care of me. Yes, but isn't that what parents do? So you need to take care of yourself as you take care of other people.
Balance it.
You don't have to give up your life. So that's where a lot of women need reorientation, and that's been missing. The 40-plus woman has been neglected. We focus on see you at 35, under something. Even there is what is called age shaming. Age shaming. People shame you because of your age. Oh, we only want young people. They put up an advert. Don't apply if you are above this age. And look at you.
Well, the person at that age was still in school.
You've seen the specs of the job, and you know, I can do it. And you know, there is no age shaming abroad. Nobody would ask you your age if they're in America. Nobody will ask you. But in this environment, they say, I don't want to employ anybody less than 35. If you're 40, don't come. So you're wondering, what's happened to me? So in this environment, they age shame a lot. But the fact that you're 40 or 45 does not mean you cannot deliver. Because you've had a lot of experience. You can even do it better. And so this is where I reorientate women, that look, the fact that you started late, you can start good. If you have the right orientation, you've got to turn all the treasures that you've built up over time to leverage you. Because you're more patient, you've seen a lot in life. I mean, you won't make some mistakes. So you
have a personal experience.
Oh, yes. I started a vision at 40 because I discovered my purpose at 40. That I trained as a chartered accountant. I read sociology and anthropology from the University of Ife. Then I went and trained as a chartered accountant because, you know, that's what parents, be an accountant. But I kept on feeling there is more. I wasn't fulfilled.
Something was missing.
I'm supposed to be something. And then I began to pray. And then it dawned on me, I'm supposed to be ministering to women, gathering women, helping them to find purpose, speaking to them, having meetings, you know, helping them to do their businesses. When I get to that space, I light up. So I now set up an organization for women. when I was 40, and that was it. That opened doors for me, not my accountancy. That opened doors for me, not the sociology. But the fact that I kept on ministering to women, talking to women, encouraging them, helping them. That's my purpose. And I started at 40. And so until you find your path of purpose, whenever you find it, you're never too old. Absolutely. You would still succeed. So that's what a lot of us, we shouldn't think, oh, I'm 50, it's finished. No. So when we understand these things, we'll be able to manage all these midlife things. But of course, like a lot of us, I had to face my family. I had a young family of 3 boys. They were in school. My husband had a busy job. And so I had to give up all my accountancy and everything to focus on them.
So you're the baby doll of the family.
Yes. So at the end of the day, when they had all gone to school and my net was empty, I could focus on my vision. So I encourage women, it's never too old. You are not too old to find purpose. Absolutely. So when you get to that point, instead of being depressed, instead of feeling, oh, I've lost it, you have not. You just need to be wired in the right way to turn everything that has happened in your life to your positives and use it to boost yourself. So from age 35 to 55, you're seeing changes in your body, you're experiencing so many things. Menopause will pass. It certainly passes. Menopause is something we all go through, but it's not going to be forever. And I said I'll say this. Look at somebody like the President of America. How old is he? He's a president at what age? Look at Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House. So you see, the latter half of your life is for you to leap. It's not just for you to be looking for the title of being a grandma. That's what a lot of us say. I want to go and be that shouldn't be your ambition to be a grandma. That's just it's just part of your...
A lot of women are changing that. They are saying from grandma to now glamour.
Yes. So it can be filled with purpose. You can start another career. You can leverage on your former career. And that's where I coach women. I help them to transform. You might have been doing this. Or if you've been in, for instance, you've been in public service and you're retiring, what's next? What are those things you can use as treasures? You can start mentoring people in public service. You can have a mentoring scheme. There are younger people coming in your line. So women need to, so that's why you need a coach to coach you to turn your treasures to deliver for you in the present way. You can turn these things to digital platforms that you may be here in Nigeria. You're coaching somebody in Singapore. You've got a digital platform. People can apply to drink from your well of wisdom and your well of experience, because that is value. And that's what I tell women. You are not useless. You don't say, oh, I spent all my life on my husband had a wonderful career, I'm feeling bad. No, no, no. So it's important for us to know that midlife does not have to be a crisis. It's just a transition.
It's a transition. Now, would you say that an average Nigerian woman copes with this midlife thing properly?
Not really. We don't, because of our environment. Like I mentioned, age shaming. Sometimes
body shaming too.
Body shaming, age shaming, and sometimes people look down on themselves. They'll say, I'm too old. How can I be doing this? You should leave that for the younger ones. No.
You did say that midlife doesn't have, not everything comes with crisis. Now, when it does come, how do we handle that?
So let's look at what are those things that can be crisis. Health. There can be health issues around midlife. That's when people may discover that the stress of the early part of their lives is now taking a toll on them and is now erupting in certain sicknesses. So that's why when you get to midlife, don't joke with your checkups. Don't joke with certain numbers. I tell women, use your birthday. The gift to yourself should be that you go and do a total physical examination. What's your cholesterol level? What's your blood pressure? Did you do mammogram? Did you check your cervix? You don't just want to sit and wait until a symptom appears. So when you get to midlife is when the tendency for people who have really overworked, maybe they don't sleep well, they don't eat well, a lot of things would erupt. But we can nip a lot of things in the bud. We can catch a lot of things when we go voluntarily to do all this physical examination every year. So if there is a flag, a red flag somewhere, oh, your cholesterol is high, you check it before it becomes a heart disease. But if we don't pay attention, the body, the efficiency of the workings of the body is reducing from that age. You find out that it's not like some of us will jump from Lagos to Abuja without sleeping. You jump to Dubai, blah, blah, blah. All those things tell on the body. So you begin to pay attention to what you eat. You must necessarily make lifestyle changes. You must not be sedentary. Whatever you can do, you just have to do it at that age. So that you can live longer. Yes, you have to exercise. If you can do aerobics, if you can walk, you just have to. Because what kills most is when these things are giving us signals and we don't pay attention, it now becomes a crisis. So I tell women, when you get to that age, your birthday gift to yourself from age 40 is you must do...
Is a total physical.
Yes. And then you intervene when there is anything that has been flagged. And you watch it. And if you need to give, it's not the time to start eating cow leg and to start eating some things.
Oh, yeah, there was some close.
No, that's it. You just have to give up. You may have to go on some special diets to help you. Because I've found out that when you give up on those things, the body is fantastic in adjusting. If you make a little effort, you get a lot of results. That's what I tell people. A little effort will deliver so much to you. Just give up some things. Give up on fizzy drinks, sugary things, all these drinks, that carbonated drinks. When you are in that age, you just have to be conscious so that you can live long, because you have labored.
Absolutely.
You have labored. And when this is your reward time, and you want to be in good health so you can enjoy the rewards of your labor in your marriage, over your children, in your career. So you owe it to yourself to take responsibility for your health. And then, of course, it is a time now for you not to stress yourself so much, because at this stage in life, some things are already set. You've been in a marriage probably for 20 years, for 25 years. You already know the dynamics of your marriage. And I tell women, yes, if you're in this, you are 50-something, you've been married for 20, 25 years, by now you know who you are married to. By now you know what will give you peace. By now you can take some responsible decisions about your life. So you don't have to stress yourself and begin to worry. And then what typically happens to women in this age is, as their children grow up, they now carry the challenges of their own children on their head. So you see them, those who are faith-based, begin to go from mountain to mountain praying for their children. Some begin to carry, so you don't...
But we can't stop praying for them.
We cannot stop praying for them, but we shouldn't worry about them.
Okay, good.
Hand them over to God. Hand them over to God. Pray for them. In fact, we cannot stop praying for them, but we should not carry the burden that we have to live at the feet of the Lord.
It's a gamut of information. The conversation continues after this quick break. Now, you will not believe this, but some people still believe or assume that midlife or midlife crisis is a myth. I mean, are we just hyping this?
It is not a myth. It is just that people cope differently. People cope differently. And some people, because they've had things well set up in their lives, it may not be a crisis, like I said. But typically, some women, menopause really gives them a lot of health challenges. Whereas for some other women, they just go through. They may just find out that there is a cessation of their menstrual cycle without anything that they felt in their body negatively. They just find out that the thing has ceased, maybe intermittently, and all of a sudden. But for some people, they really feel sick. They are irritable. Yes. Some, you know, they have all sorts of symptoms, and some would even spiritualize it and think they are going through spiritual attack.
Yes.
Because
some people will sleep and wake up and say, I saw lines.
Exactly.
Lines will come.
Insomnia comes with it. You find out that as we get into midlife, people find it more difficult to sleep. They are tossing and turning on the bed, and then maybe around 2 a.m. they just sleep off for about 2-3 hours. They're awake again. And so it depends on how different people, their body makeup, and how they cope with it. But you just have to know that whatever it is, you may need to catch some sleep in the afternoon, depending on your schedule, because everybody needs to sleep. So it is not a hype, it is real. And then for some people, it really gives them emotional problems like depression. They just find out they are crying. They wake up in the morning, they have everything, but they're just sad. So it could nosedive into depression. And when it does, there is the need for you to see a practitioner, get a health expert. Yes, and there may be need for counseling, therapy, so that it doesn't become clinical depression.
As we wrap up now, words of encouragement for the 40-plus woman.
I would say to every 40-plus woman, know that the second half of your life can be better than the first half of your life. Know that you are not too old to do that which you are wired to do. And you should, at this stage, hand everything over to your Creator and not worry. Worrying would affect one's blood pressure and could put one at a lot of health risk. So it is time for every 40-plus woman to see herself as standing in a peculiar place where all those things she had wanted to achieve, the platform is set. Because at that point in your life, you are done with the busy years of child rearing.
Amazing.
You're done with it, and you can go and have
and have your life back. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So much for all that you've shared with us. I'll meet you at the meeting on Facebook. Thank you.
Great.
And it's great to have you come and share your wealth of experience.
I've enjoyed being with you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're welcome, ma'am. This week's Sisieko is an educator, a Merit Award winner, and a change agent.
Folashade Omobola Adefisayo is the Honorable Commissioner for Education, Lagos State. She has consulted for public and private schools, state governments, NGOs and development partners, and her areas of professional focus include teacher training, leadership training, school setup, and schools transformation. She has nearly 40 years working experiences spanning banking operations, organizational restructuring, human resource management, international trade and education. Folashade Adefisayo is an education activist with a passion for student learning, school transformation, and teacher training. She is deeply concerned about the learning crisis in Nigerian schools and has volunteered to work with the federal government, Lagos State Government, Osun State Government, and Oyo State Government. She is dedicated to improving other people's lives and has served as a volunteer with a number of NGOs, Federal Nigerian Society for the Blind, Volunteer Corps, Junior Achievement, Faith Foundation, and many more.
How well do we adhere to workplace etiquette? It's Etiquette Corner. Thanks for being part of the show. Join us same time next week and continue to adhere to COVID-19 safety protocols and guidelines. I am Siju Alabi. Stay safe.